Completing this lesson, you will be able to describe the differences between cylinder actuators and motor actuators. Explain the similarities and differences between hydraulic motors and hydraulic pumps. Identify the most common cylinder actuators. Identify the most common motor actuator. In the previous lessons you learned that pumps convert mechanical force into hydraulic power, and fluid transmits hydraulic power to all components within the system. Now you will learn that actuators convert hydraulic power back into mechanical power. As actuators move, so does the boom, arm, or platform. As you can see, hydraulic actuators accomplish the work of the hydraulic system. There are two common types of actuators that will be covered in this course: a hydraulic cylinder and a hydraulic motor. Cylinder actuators produce linear force, while motor actuators produce rotary motion. Whether the resulting force is linear or rotary, basic hydraulic actuator operation remains the same. Fluid fills a confined space and acts upon an actuator. Inside the actuator, a piston is forced to move. Mechanical components connected to the actuator assembly are also forced to move. A hydraulic cylinder consists of a cylinder housing, piston, and piston rod. It uses hydraulic fluid to perform linear work. There are two main types of hydraulic cylinders: single-acting and double-acting. A single-acting actuator is typically used on genie scissors, forklifts, and car hoists. The double-acting actuator is the most common type of cylinder found in mobile hydraulics. A double-acting actuator transfers linear force and motion in both directions. It is operated by hydraulic fluid that is pumped into one of the two cylinder chambers. The fluid forces the piston to move. With a constant pump flow, the speed and force at which the cylinder rod extends and retracts is not the same. Can you guess why? Well, the cylinder rod takes up space inside the cylinder, so the amount of fluid required to move the rod is less. Also, the piston surface area on the rod side is smaller. This means the cylinder will retract much faster but will have less force. A double-acting cylinder is controlled by a directional control valve. The directional control valve directs fluid to one or the other cylinder chamber. This valve will be discussed later in the control valves section of this course. The gear motor and piston motor are two common hydraulic motors that are used in mobile hydraulics. Hydraulic motors and hydraulic pumps are very similar in design. The difference is that a hydraulic pump is driven by an outside force, such as an engine, and then forces fluid into the system. A hydraulic motor uses the fluid from the pump to drive a component. Like the gear pump, the gear motor has a drive gear and an idler gear. These gears use the fluid coming from the pump to drive a drive shaft. While the gear motor is a simple design, the piston motor is commonly used in high pressure, high flow, and variable displacement mobile hydraulics applications. Just like the piston pump, the pistons in a piston motor are mounted in a revolving barrel and slide in and out of the bores along a swash plate. Fluid is supplied to the pistons on the high pressure side, forcing them down the angled swash plate. The pistons are fixed in the barrel, causing rotary motion. The barrel is mechanically connected to the output shaft. As the motor turns, the fluid is exhausted to the low pressure side.